Hello and welcome to Two as One Couples, the place where we are looking at things marriage. What is a kingdom marriage? How does it operate? What is the purpose for marriage? What was God's plan? What went wrong? How do we find our way back? And how do we sustain the new environment? In the current conversation, we are speaking about the kingdom woman versus the strong woman. We've looked at the kingdom woman and who she really is. But in this session, we want to have a look at who is a strong woman? How do we define one, and what's even wrong with being a strong woman? My name is Charles Opio, and with me is my wife, Susan Opio, who will take us into this second part of this journey.
Hello viewers, and yes, we are going to look at the strong woman. And of course, when you look at the strong woman, sometimes you ask ourselves, so who is not?
Yes.
Because when you introduce the strong woman, it's almost like this is what every woman is. This is what we are all aspiring to become. Yeah. And I think when a young girl in school, when she talks of being empowered, it's almost like this is where you're going.
Yes.
So her picture, you are talking and it's like, but I thought that's where we are all headed to.
Absolutely.
So when we talk of the strong woman, we are talking about the woman after the fall of man. Yes. Genesis chapter 3. Yes. And this woman is a woman who now comes into the picture. This is not the woman who God created, and that is so crucial that we deal with that for people to understand that we are not discussing about the woman God created. We are talking about the woman who became after the fall.
Absolutely.
So after the fall, there's a new woman who emerges in the earth, and this woman now is in competition with God, and we will see how. This is a woman who has no boundaries. This is a woman who is so godless, but she interprets her godlessness as strength.
Yes.
The more godless I am, the more strong I am. So who is a strong woman? A woman who is in competition with God, competition with man, and competition with actually herself.
Yes, and the query is that where do we get the root concept of competition with God?
Yeah.
It is hidden in the very statement the serpent gave.
Okay.
If you eat of this, you will be like God. Now, the interesting statement given there, like God, is not God's likeness. It is an equal to God, a competitor with God. So this is where we get the concept of she's fighting with God.
Yeah. The strong woman, I think, like we say, it's strong. When you talk of the word strong, we are talking about a woman who finds her strength in herself. A woman who defies any order, especially spiritual order. But when we continue discussing the strong woman, can we make it clear we are not discussing about a woman out there? We are discussing about a woman in the church. So when we talk of the church, we're talking about two kinds of women in the church. There's a kingdom woman and there's a strong woman. So that somebody doesn't think that we're discussing about women who are not in the church. We are actually saying the kingdom woman and the strong woman, they're both found in the church. But there's a very big difference. And of course, as we continue looking at them, the only man a strong woman wants to listen to is a man who listens to her. I mean, that is serious. That this woman is fighting with God because she has this feeling of God created man superior.
Yes.
Where did she get that definition? From the fall.
Absolutely.
When man fell and redefinition came, the one thing that was redefined was the functions of male and female were changed from functions to roles.
Yes.
So a man was given a role and the woman was given a role. Yes. God gave them functions, not roles.
And maybe I should say something a bit about that, because that is the root cause
of
the entire problem. The root cause is suddenly we moved from equal to the task, as we have said earlier, to separation to cope with the problem. All right?
Yeah.
Now we are fallen. What does God say to the man? With sweat and toil, the earth will produce for you little. Yeah. Okay? Now from that point of the fall now, man's functionality is if the land will produce little, then I must work more.
Yeah.
All right? I must work harder.
Yes.
I must do all these things. And suddenly, the place, remember, my relationship with God has been disconnected.
Yes.
Therefore, it is not important to have a relationship with my wife.
So the relational part of it
is already broken.
Yes.
And so the only way to manage this process is for the man now to have one primary focus: survival. Man is now part animal. Survival for the fittest,
Yes.
producing for my people.
Yes.
And to do that, this is my new role. Woman, you have no place in this role. Your job now is diminished. It is to look after the house,
Yes.
to look after the children. And from that position now, I am the superior. I am the greater.
Yes.
I am the stronger. And so in reaction to that, over time, woman suddenly begins to realize, I've gotten the bad end of this stick.
Yeah, this deal has gone sour and I'm getting the bad deal.
So instead
Yeah.
of going to find out who she was, she wants to take the tall end of the stick.
And at this point, as you're talking about what
Yes.
man has redefined,
Yes.
the man now is using culture, natural wisdom,
Anything.
and of course he's checking he's checking vantage point and
Yes.
saying, if I stand here as the man and say I am the head, so he still goes to the Bible
Yes.
and picks a scripture that suits
That
what he wants.
reinforces,
Yes.
reinforces that posture. And let me tell you, and I know this is the place many of us, especially in the African context, Kenya and beyond,
Yeah.
need to recheck this argument of let's go back to our culture. It usually means let's go back to our hierarchy. Let's go back to control.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing over time, you know, the longer something becomes, the more it multiplies.
Yeah.
Over generations, it's become so wicked that even food, just basic food, there is food for men and food for women. That's how far we've gone.
That's how bad a fallen man can get.
Yes.
And I think I like what you're saying, that a fallen man will reinforce his posture using scripture.
Yes.
And that is what makes the woman think this is what God intended.
Absolutely.
Because when she is told that God even says man is the head.
Yes.
So culture likes that and picks
Yeah.
that. And they want to throw that at the woman.
And redefinition,
You know?
head is redefined.
The head, of course, headship now has already been redefined. So
Yes.
this woman starts interpreting from a fallen position that God intended evil for me.
Yes.
So her war is with God.
Yes.
But because she cannot reach God, she fights God through men.
Absolutely.
So this is a strong woman, imagine, with such bitterness and hate and anger towards God, but the only way she can fight is through men.
Absolutely.
So now when you look at a strong woman, she has stopped even fulfilling anything for herself,
Yes.
but now she's in competition. And like we like saying that you'll even hear people saying, what a man can do,
A woman can do.
no, a
And-
woman can do
and
better. It is
better.
that head,
Yes,
you know, it's not that a
yes.
woman can
There's
do.
an upgrade now.
She can do better. But the question is, why do you want to do
What
men
a man can do. Why can't you do what a woman can do?
Yeah, because when I'm trying to replace you, first of all, I become a poor representative of
Absolutely.
you. Then I have already left my role.
And then
Yeah.
that better is usually the exaggeration part. It's weird how, when you look at gender confusion,
Yeah.
that's what I call it, where the male behaves like a woman, you'll bump into men who are so extreme, even women don't do what they do.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, they amaze me. When they walk, they swing their hands worse than any woman does.
I think when you reverse roles, that confusion,
There's an
because a
extremity.
woman who wants to become a man behaves worse than a man.
Absolutely.
A man who wants to become like a woman, I mean, which woman throws their hands? I
When
mean,
they are
if I
talking.
do that, I look a bit, you know? So they do it wrong.
Yes.
But what is happening? That if a woman wants to become a man and takes up that masculinity, I think because she was not created for it, she overdoes it. But because she has also left her part, now she's somewhere in between.
So
she's not a man,
yeah.
but she's
You're not even a good man.
You're not a good man. And at
Yeah.
the same time, now you're not a woman.
Absolutely.
So what are you now? You
Absolutely.
get? Same with a man.
Yes.
When you do this thing, when you walk funny.
Behave like a woman. You're not even a good woman.
You're a terrible representative of women. We don't walk like that. We don't talk like that. We don't behave like that.
Yes.
But let me tell you something that I've observed, that any woman who tries to become a man, and this is what we are calling the strong woman,
Yes.
she has bitterness.
Absolutely.
She has anger. It's like there's vengeance. It's like she's trying to revenge or something. So even on the just by looking at her, you can see something wrong with this
Yes,
woman. She becomes hardened.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
when you look at a man who wants to become a woman, a confused man who wants to become a woman, they become jolly
Yeah.
and jelly.
They become oversoft.
You're like, no, this is confusion of gender.
Absolutely.
You know?
And like you said, the root argument now passed on
Yeah.
is that, God, you were unfair to me.
Yes.
You decided the man is better. That's
Yes.
how it's passed down.
Yes.
Better than me. Everything about you is always telling me the man is greater, the man is stronger, the
Yeah.
man controls everything. I am that problem.
Yeah.
And now, in my wanting to respond to you in the deception, I cannot confront God directly.
Yes.
But there's a way to do it. And then let me explain why that is dangerous. The devil knew he cannot attack God.
Yes.
Who did he attack?
Man.
So it's a principle.
And why? So that man can stop the order of God in the earth.
Absolutely.
That's it. The strong woman who only wants a man who listens to her, not to God. Okay? And any man or woman who tries to bring back the order of God into her life or to her environment, she just hates.
I think you need to
That's her
re-emphasize
enemy.
that, because it sounds like a simple statement when you say a woman who is a strong woman does not listen to any man except the one who listens to her. But if you leave it there, it sounds like a nice conversational piece.
I think also what we are saying is the strong woman wants to listen to only one kind of a man. The man who will listen to her voice, not to the voice of God.
Absolutely.
And actually, to
That's
even
the
put it
weight.
better,
Yes.
listen to her noise, not to the voice of God.
Yes.
Any man who tends to bring order to her, she's not interested. Why? She's come to a place where I so hate the God who defined me to be lesser, inferior, and the only way I can get back to him is I just don't want to hear this voice.
And so
You
I
know?
think we need to create two pictures. I'm extracting from some of the things you're saying,
Yeah.
that we are saying this woman is hating God through a man.
Through a man, yes.
So technically she's not hating the man, even though that's the way it looks like.
That's just a target here.
Yes. Now, how can we qualify that? One way. I know this is a common discussion that comes up in a lot of our counseling sessions.
Yeah.
You know, he's seeing another woman. But wait, it's also a woman. So the question that comes, what is making that other woman come for this man, and yet that woman supposedly doesn't like men? Because the principle is, as long as this act defies God.
That's it. Anything to stop the order of God in the earth.
Yes, if, in other words, you're not even aware as a strong woman out here. You want your independence, but you want a relationship where a man is subject to you. And to do it, you're willing to destroy another marriage because that represents God, and that then justifies your position.
I think if for any woman listening and saying, wait a minute, you're saying that my war is against God.
Absolutely.
You know you are the loser. You know you're not going to win this.
Yes.
And I think also if you ask yourself, is it true that any person, a man or a woman, who projects the voice of God louder than my noise, I hate?
I don't want to hear it.
Just examine yourself. That means you're already at war with God. And you know definitely that God so loves you that there's no way you're going to win on this. You know? And any person who displays the order of God, the original order of God,
is
you
offensive.
hate. Now,
even if it's another woman.
Yes, even another woman.
Yes.
So question, what is wrong with you? That's a question somebody should ask. What is this thing that I am fighting? And you know what? When you look back where we are coming from, we will see that these are seeds that were planted. Like we started by saying, this is culture that told me I am inferior, that told me I have to serve men, that told me I have to submit to men, that told me men are my head, that told me men are the leaders. Everything is about men. And again, in a fallen world, men have projected that reality.
But there is nowhere that bitterness and hatred is incubated like in culture. Because culture by its, check any culture you like in the world.
Yeah.
There is no culture that elevates women.
Yeah.
There is
Because
none.
culture is also from the enemy and it's fighting God.
And knowing very well, put enough pressure on this woman,
Yeah.
there'll be a rebellion.
Yeah.
So culture has incubated this problem. And in fact, that's another battleground that women have.
Yeah.
Their battleground is with culture, but culture is managed by men.
By men. And again, when we talk of all we are trying to stop is God's order in the earth,
That's
all right?
it.
So whether it is through culture, the enemy will use anything. And like we said, a woman is a sustainer of life.
Yes.
So if you give her the wrong seed,
She'll sustain it.
that's what she will multiply.
Yep.
And right now, we can see it anywhere. That when we talk of any activity that is going on in the world, not just in a country, we see that it is rebellion against God,
Yes.
even though it comes out either rebellion against man or just no, we are elevating the woman.
Yes.
So when we talk about, for example, we say there is the girl child, the boy child, and then we say empower the girl. It sounds like we are saying don't empower the girl, but we are simply asking a question. If you empower her at the expense of the boy, give them 20 years, give them 30 years,
That's
and
where we are
bring these
today.
two people together. So you're bringing a woman who's already been empowered and told, listen, you are a strong woman. In fact, every day we are told that. Our parents repeat that.
Mothers repeat it every day.
Yes, NGOs, there is slogans. We are strong. If you educate a woman, you educate society. That is all about just crushing the man.
I mean, let's take a debate that's going on in our media today.
Yeah.
About lowering the age of consent for sex.
Yeah.
From 18 to 16.
Yes.
And one of the arguments brought in is the argument that, isn't it interesting to note that in this case of underage, when the two are brought to court, the boy is jailed but the girl goes back to school.
What does that tell you?
Power of a system.
We are still fighting God. We are saying, listen, the best way to do this is use society to elevate the woman and crush the man.
Yes.
Then 20 years, 30 years down the line, bring these two people together and tell them, you want to be married? This is your husband. Which husband? The one you've crushed for 30 years,
Yeah.
and the woman is the wife who you have elevated for. Change the order.
How early
Yeah?
does the devil target marriage?
Oh,
In
yes.
our first series, we spoke about the primacy, the two most important relationships
Yes.
in creation.
Yeah.
God and man, man and woman. All right? Now, let's take the basics. We are talking now in the African context. We say today, and it's a common discussion in circles, that women are multitaskers.
Yes.
All right? And that women can do two things at the same time. Her brain can do this, but the man can only focus on one.
Yes.
Where did we get that idea from? And it seems like it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the cultural setting of the African. Where do you find the boy?
Harding.
Wake up, go look after your cattle. So he has one assignment all day. A very non-thinking assignment.
Looking at animals that cannot talk back.
Simple. So his language formation, problem.
Yes.
His interaction and social, problem.
Problem solving.
Problem solving, zero.
Decision making.
Zero.
Yeah. Because these animals, you just need to just make a
There
noise
you
and
go.
they all know how they are.
Meanwhile,
So he actually thinks like the cows.
up, what do you do?
Well,
The company you keep.
I didn't say that.
There we go. So the
Okay.
next thing you now have,
Yeah.
you have the girl at home. She's told, go wash, go cook, go get water. The guests are coming. Greet them. Talk to them. She's inside every conversation that's
And
going on.
I think also the tasks given to the girl back home,
Yes.
they involve decision making.
Decision making,
There is
thinking,
interaction,
reasoning,
there is
everything is
thinking,
involved.
yeah.
There's a bit of science, a bit of physics, a bit of biology, a bit of everything.
Yeah.
You're sent, go to so-and-so, say this. This is how you behave when there are guests. This is, but we are claiming that the men are in charge. So fast forward. Now the average children today, now let's change the setting, okay? Because people will say, but that is only in the
That
village.
was-
Let's move into the city.
Yeah.
And what do you find a girl doing? What kind of games does she play? She's cooking. She's talking to her dolls. She's creating this. Then she calls the man in, come and be the doctor. I mean, stand there, come and, she's running the environment.
She's running the
Yeah,
show.
go and find the boys playing. What
Yeah.
are they doing? Driving tractors. All they can do is change gears. Boo, ooh. What level of
Like you
thinking?
said earlier, language formation,
Zero.
thinking,
Zero.
Decision making.
Zero.
The only thing they know is my car will hit your car. My
Crash.
tractor will run past your car. I mean, competition.
And when they come where the girl is playing, pour everything and run away.
Because the competition.
So if this is the environment we are bringing them up in,
Yeah.
nobody tells a young man that his primary connection is God. He's simply told, one day you will work and you will produce.
Yes.
We live on a plantation, slaves. That's a reality.
I think the mentality here when you're saying that from a fallen position, of course, we are talking about non-thinking.
Yes.
Then at the same time, of course, we will not put our head in the sand and not say that even in church we don't think. We don't raise people and say, listen, let's go back and look at the word of God, because trying to find out who we were before the fall is not an easy thing.
Then let me ask you a question. You grow up,
Yeah.
your mother providing for you, because that's what she does. That's what you see around her. She cooks, she does. As far as you're concerned as a child, you can't connect your father going, bringing something. When it arrives in your mother's hands, it gets life.
Yeah.
Okay? It is cooked. It is turned into something nice.
Yes.
Something you enjoy. Then one day you go, get married, and then your wife tells you, think. Produce for me. From where?
Think how?
The only person who you've seen thinking is you and your mother. So you're telling your husband to do what is natural to you. We have a problem.
And I think when you talk about looking in the Bible and seeing when Pharaoh made a decree, kill all the boys.
Yes.
Again, we see it with Herod, kill all the boys. And we don't look at this and say, what is the picture being shown there? It's not just a picture of he was looking for Jesus, he was looking for Moses. It is a decree that has been made again, even in this season. There's a spiritual decree, kill all the boys. And what does that mean? Today you listen to women. What is making the strong woman become relevant in our society?
Yes.
Because the men are down.
There you go.
They are there's a kill.
And you see, what is the devil's intent?
Yeah.
Very simple. The seed of God must not enter a womb.
I think that's what we should never forget. That there's
That's
a
it.
war that the devil has already made up his warped mind, that this shall never be found in the earth. And that's why we are calling on a new couples, a new man, a new woman, a new marriage in the earth that will say, you know what, God said it, it shall come to pass. We are going to be the generation that is going to bring the new patterns of God in the earth.
Absolutely.
We are the new people who will bring in the original patterns of God in marriage. We are going to be the original pattern of God for a woman. I will come and say, what did God intend for a woman to be? Sustain life. I'm going to sustain the life of God. What about the man? Take his position. There's that new generation that is coming up in the earth.
Yes. And so, did God want a woman to have strength? Yes.
Yes, and powerful
a lot of strength,
yeah,
but the strength was not the man's strength.
Yes.
She's not supposed to look at the man as the picture of strength that she requires. She's supposed to have her own strength, which is different from the man's strength.
And I think we'll need to continue looking at the issue of the strong woman, the qualities of a strong woman. And let's start by asking ourselves, how did she become the strong woman?
How did she become strong?
Yeah.
So as we continue this conversation, please stay with us, because if we leave you here, you might not like her.
Yeah.
We need to go to a place where now we look at what is the picture of what she was meant to be, but it will take us a little time. If we don't define the problem, we will never see the solution. Stay with us.